At 16, my stepfather beat me unconscious and left me on the street after his daughter lied about me stealing. So 25 years later, when he lost everything and begged for help, I revealed I'd been the anonymous buyer who purchased his company just to fire him. Welcome, family. If this story touches your heart, show some love by subscribing and letting us know where you're watching from. Now let's go on with the story. I still remember the metallic taste of blood in my mouth as I lay on that cold sidewalk, 16 years old and broken. But let me back up, because you need to understand how a man could do this to a child he'd raised for 8 years. Mom, I didn't take it. My voice cracked as I stood in our living room, my stepsister Madison's diamond bracelet gleaming on the coffee table between us. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, making the stones sparkle mockingly. Ezekiel, my stepfather, stood 6'3" of pure intimidation. His jaw clenched as Madison sobbed dramatically into my mother's shoulder. She took it, Daddy. I saw her going through my jewelry box this morning. That's a lie. I turned to my mother, desperate. Mom, you know me. I would never. The evidence is right there, Eileen. My mother's voice was cold, distant. She'd changed so much since marrying Ezekiel 3 years ago. The woman who used to braid my hair and sing me to sleep had become a stranger who always took his side. Ezekiel's footsteps were heavy as he approached me. You ungrateful little thief. After everything we've given you. Given me. I laughed bitterly. You mean the basement room while Madison got the master bedroom? The hand-me-downs while she got designer clothes? The scraps while you three ate like kings? His hand connected with my face before I could dodge. The world spun. Ezekiel, please, my mother started, but her protest was weak, performative. She needs to learn respect, he growled. I should have run then. God, I should have run. The slap left my ear ringing, but it was the look in my mother's eyes that truly hurt, indifference masked as concern. She wasn't going to help me. She never did anymore. I didn't steal anything. I shouted, tasting blood from where my teeth had cut my inner cheek. Madison's lying. She's always lying. Don't you dare call my daughter a liar. Ezekiel roared, grabbing my arm so hard I felt my bones compress. His fingers would leave bruises that would last weeks. Not that anyone would see them. Madison peeked out from behind my mother and I saw it, just for a second, that satisfied smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. She was enjoying this. The spoiled 17-year-old princess had finally found a way to get rid of the competition for her father's attention and resources. The bracelet was in your backpack, Eileen. My mother's voice trembled, but not with anger at Ezekiel. With disappointment in me. Madison found it when she was looking for her charger. Because she went through my stuff. That's the 3rd time this month. I tried to wrench my arm free, but Ezekiel's grip only tightened. She put it there. Mom, please, you have to believe me. Enough. Ezekiel shook me like a rag doll. You've been nothing but trouble since your deadbeat father left. We took you in, fed you, clothed you. My father died, you bastard. The words exploded from me before I could stop them. He didn't leave, he died. And you're not my father. The second blow came faster, harder. My head snapped back and I heard my mother gasp. But she didn't move to stop him. She never did. Through the haze of pain, memories flooded back. I was 8 when Mom married Ezekiel. He'd seemed kind then, with his pressed suits and gentleman's smile. I'll take care of both of you, he'd promised, kneeling down to my level. You'll never want for anything. The first year was fine. Good even. He took us to movies, bought me books, helped with my homework. Then Madison moved in full-time after her mother's death and everything changed. She gets the bigger room, Ezekiel had said when I questioned why I had to move to the converted basement. She's been through trauma, losing her mother. Be compassionate, Eileen. I was 9. I'd lost my father just 2 years earlier. Where was my compassion? Why does Madison get a new laptop when mine still works? I'd asked at 10. Stop being jealous. It's ugly on you. Why can't I join the dance team? Madison does cheer and piano and... Those cost money, Eileen. We can't afford everything. But they could afford Madison's designer handbags. Her spring break trips. Her car at 16. I worked part-time at a diner at 15, saving every penny for college for escape. I kept my grades perfect, straight A's, honor roll every semester. I stayed out of trouble, did my chores, tried to be invisible. It was never enough. You're bleeding. My mother's voice cut through my memories. She dabbed at my lip with a tissue, but the gesture felt mechanical. Why do you always push him, Eileen? You know how he gets. I didn't steal the bracelet. My voice was hollow now. She didn't say she believed me. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Ezekiel's spit hit my face as he screamed. My eye was already swelling shut and I could feel blood dripping from my nose onto the hardwood floor. Each drop seemed to echo in the terrible silence between his words. I started, but his fist connected with my stomach, stealing my breath. Liar. He punctuated each word with violence. My ribs. My back. My face again. Thief. After everything I've done for you. Through blurring vision, I saw Madison on the stairs, phone in hand. Recording. Texting. Probably telling her friends about the drama. My mother stood frozen, one hand over her mouth, the other clutching Ezekiel's arm weakly. Please stop, I whispered, curling into a ball. Please. You want to act like trash? I'll treat you like trash. He grabbed my hair, dragging me toward the door. My scalp screamed in agony. Get out of my house. Ezekiel, it's dark outside, my mother protested. Then maybe she should have thought about that before stealing from us. He threw open the front door. The November air bit at my skin. Go on. Get out. Mom. I reached for her, desperate, defeated. Please don't let him. She looked at me with such conflicted pain that for one moment, I thought she'd finally stand up for me. Finally choose her daughter over her husband. Then she looked away. Ezekiel threw me down the front steps. I tumbled, hitting concrete, feeling something crack in my wrist. Don't come back until you can admit what you did. The door slammed. I lay on the sidewalk for what felt like hours but was probably only minutes. My phone was inside. My wallet. My jacket. The November wind cut through my thin t-shirt, and I shivered violently, each movement sending fresh waves of pain through my battered body. A car slowed. Stopped. I heard a door open. Jesus Christ. Kid, are you okay? A woman's voice, urgent and warm. Ezekiel. Call 911. And no, I managed, forcing my good eye open. An elderly black couple stood over me, their faces etched with concern. The woman had kind eyes that reminded me of my grandmother. No hospitals. Can't pay. Child, you need help. The woman, I'd later learn her name was Dorothy, knelt beside me despite her obvious age. What happened to you? Fell, I lied automatically. Years of covering for Ezekiel had trained me well. Stupid. Tripped on the sidewalk. Bullshit. Her husband, Samuel, pointed to the house behind us. We saw him throw you out. Saw the whole damn thing through the window. We live across the street. My throat closed. Someone had witnessed it. Someone had seen. We're calling the police, Dorothy said firmly. No. Panic gave me strength. Please. They won't believe me. His brother's a sergeant. And my mom, she'll just say I'm lying. Please, I just need to get somewhere safe. Dorothy and Samuel exchanged a long look, the kind married couples develop after decades together. A whole conversation in a glance. Our daughter's room is empty, Samuel finally said. Get up, child. You're coming with us. I sobbed with relief as they helped me to my feet. Dorothy's hands were gentle as she cleaned my wounds in their warm, cluttered bathroom. The house smelled like cinnamon and old books. Nothing like the cold perfection Ezekiel demanded in his pristine showpiece home across the street. This is going to sting, baby girl, she warned before applying antiseptic. I hissed but didn't pull away. That man should be in prison. His brother's a police sergeant, I repeated, watching my reflection in the mirror. I barely recognized the swollen, bruised girl staring back. And my mom won't say anything. She never does. What about your father? Dead. 7 years ago. Heart attack. The words still hurt. He was a mechanic. Good man. Mom married Ezekiel 2 years later and I thought she'd found someone to help take care of us. And the bracelet? Samuel asked from the doorway. Did you take it? I met his eyes directly. No, sir. Madison planted it. She's done stuff like this before. Smaller things. Making it look like I broke her stuff, lied about things, got in trouble. She wants me gone. Why? Because as long as I'm there, she has to share. Money. Resources. I laughed bitterly, then winced as it pulled my split lip. And I think she genuinely hates that I exist. That her father had a life before she moved in full-time. That he's capable of caring about someone other than her, even if he barely shows it anymore. Dorothy handed me clean clothes. Soft, worn, comfortable. You stay here tonight. Tomorrow we figure out the rest. I can't. Yes, you can. Her tone left no room for argument. And you will. I woke to sunlight and the smell of bacon. For one confused moment I thought I was in my old room from before Ezekiel, when it was just Mom and me in our small apartment where love was abundant even if money wasn't. Then the pain reminded me. Every inch of my body screamed. My face felt like raw meat. Morning, sweetheart. Dorothy appeared with a tray, eggs, bacon, toast, orange juice. Real food, not the cold cereal or leftovers I usually scrounged. Eat slow. Your stomach's probably tender. Through the lace curtains I could see Ezekiel's house. A police car sat in the driveway. They reported you as a runaway, Samuel said, following my gaze. He sat in the corner chair like a guardian angel. Around 6 a.m. Said you stole from them and ran away when confronted. My blood ran cold. They're trying to make me look like... We know. Dorothy's voice was steel. We gave our statement to Officer Johnson. He's one of the good ones. Not Ezekiel's brother. He took pictures of your injuries, documented everything. It won't matter. Despair threatened to swallow me. Ezekiel will twist it. He always does. And my mom will back him up. Your mother came looking for you. Samuel's face was grim. Around midnight. Knocked on every door on the street. We didn't answer. Watched through the peephole as she cried on our doorstep. Part of me felt satisfaction. Most of me felt nothing. The bracelet was in Madison's room, Dorothy said quietly. Hidden in a shoebox. Officer Johnson found it during his welfare check. She'd reported it stolen, but there it was. I should have felt vindicated. Dad, I felt tired. So tired. What happens now? I asked. Now. Samuel leaned forward. How we fight. The meeting at the police station was surreal. Ezekiel sat with his lawyer. Expensive suit, shark eyes. Madison played the victim perfectly, tears streaming as she claimed she'd been mistaken about seeing me take the bracelet. My mother wrung her hands, apologizing to everyone but me. This is clearly a misunderstanding, Ezekiel's lawyer said smoothly. A family dispute that got out of hand. Ezekiel admits he may have overreacted. He beat a 16-year-old girl unconscious and left her on the street, Officer Johnson interrupted. His dark skin and gray temples gave him an air of authority. That's not overreacting. That's assault. She provoked him. She's a child. Dorothy's voice cracked through the room like a whip. She and Samuel had insisted on being there as witnesses. We saw everything. He threw her down the stairs like garbage. Mrs. Watson, the lawyer's voice dripped condescension. I understand you're trying to help, but you don't know the full history of... I know a grown man beating a child when I see it, Samuel growled. Ezekiel's eyes found mine across the table. Calculating. Threatening. Eileen, honey, just come home. We can work this out as a family. Your mother misses you terribly. I looked at my mother. She nodded eagerly, desperately. Please, baby. I'm sorry. It won't happen again. I'll make sure. You'll make sure. I heard my voice as if from far away. Like you've made sure the past 8 years? Like you made sure when he moved me to the basement? When he called me names? When Madison bullied me and you did nothing? Eileen. You chose him. The words felt like glass in my throat. Every single day you chose him over me. The room went silent. 3 months later, I stood before a judge in a courtroom that smelled like old wood and broken families. Dorothy and Samuel sat behind me, my unlikely saviors. My mother sat on the other side, alone. Ezekiel wasn't there, part of the restraining order I'd filed. Miss Gordon, Judge Hernandez looked at me over her reading glasses. Do you understand what you're asking for? Emancipation is a serious step. You'll be legally responsible for yourself. Housing, finances, education. All of it. Yes, Your Honor. My voice was steady despite my shaking hands. The bruises had faded, but the scars, internal and external, remained. I understand completely. You're 17 now. Tell me about your plan. I'd rehearsed this 100 times. I've been accepted to State University with a full academic scholarship. I work 25 hours a week at Morrison's Diner, and I've saved $12,000. Mrs. Watson has agreed to rent me her daughter's old apartment above their garage for $300 a month, utilities included. I have a budget. Your Honor, my mother's lawyer interrupted weakly, Mrs. Gordon wants to reconcile with her daughter. She's willing to establish boundaries with her husband. Willing to establish boundaries? I turned to face my mother directly. You had 17 years to establish boundaries. Every time he hurt me. Every time Madison lied. Every time I needed you to be my mother instead of his wife. You chose wrong. My mother's tears fell silently. I felt nothing. Judge Hernandez was quiet for a long moment. The court has reviewed your grades, your employment history, your savings, and the police reports from the incident in November. I've also reviewed the statements from Mr. and Mrs. Watson. She looked at my mother. Mrs. Gordon, you failed this child. Then to me, emancipation granted. 25 years is a long time to build a fortune. Long enough that people forget the broken girl on the sidewalk and only see the woman in the power suit. I graduated from State University summa cum laude with a degree in business administration and finance. Worked 3 jobs simultaneously. Slept 4 hours a night. Built my first startup at 23. A consulting firm that helped small businesses streamline operations. Sold it at 27 for $2 million. The second company was bigger. Better. Tech-focused. We revolutionized inventory management systems. Sold that one at 32 for $45 million. The third company made me a billionaire at 39. I never forgot where I came from. Dorothy and Samuel's garage apartment. Morrison's Diner where I still ate breakfast every Sunday. The public library where I'd studied until closing. The women's shelter where I volunteered, seeing my younger self in every frightened face. I also never forgot Ezekiel Gordon. His manufacturing company, Gordon Industrial Solutions, had grown substantially over the years. From a regional player to a national presence. Contracts with major retailers. $50 million in annual revenue. 200 employees. And financial trouble. Serious trouble. His accountant embezzled $3 million, my investigator reported during our quarterly review. His board is furious. Stock prices are tanking. He's desperate for a buyer or a major investor. I sipped my coffee watching the financial reports scroll across my screen. And his family? Wife divorced him 8 years ago. Finally left after he got physical with her too. Madison's a real estate agent in Florida. Apparently cut him off after he refused to pay for her wedding. Karma was sweet, but sometimes it needed help. Set up a shell corporation, I said calmly. Make an offer he can't refuse. Phoenix Holdings made its offer on a Tuesday. $60 million, generous considering Gordon Industrial's current troubles. The board practically begged Ezekiel to accept. Who are they? I watched the board meeting via a video feed my team had acquired. Ezekiel looked older, grayer, but that cruel set to his jaw remained. Private equity firm, his CFO explained. They specialize in troubled manufacturing companies. Turn them around. Very reputable. The CEO is anonymous. Operates through a managing partner. Eccentric but successful. Ezekiel's hands shook slightly as he reviewed the contract. 59 years old and facing financial ruin. The factory that bore his name, built on his father's foundation, about to be sold to strangers. Do I have a choice? His voice cracked. No, the board chairman said bluntly. You don't. He signed. I watched from my office 30 floors above the city and felt nothing. No triumph. No satisfaction. Just cold, methodical purpose. The transition took 60 days. I remained invisible, letting my managing partner, David, handle the operations. But I attended every meeting, listened to every call, reviewed every file. Gordon Industrial had problems beyond embezzlement. Harassment complaints swept under the rug. Safety violations ignored. Employees terrified to speak up because Ezekiel ruled through intimidation and fear. He's a bully, one floor manager told David during an anonymous survey. Always has been. He treats us like we're disposable. Like we should be grateful he lets us work here. I knew that feeling intimately. Schedule a company-wide meeting, I told David. 3 months post-acquisition. I want everyone there. Mandatory. And send Ezekiel a personal invitation from the CEO. Tell him the CEO specifically wants to meet him. Discuss his future with the company. David's eyes widened. You're revealing yourself? It's time. The auditorium held 250 people. Every employee, every manager, the entire board. Ezekiel sat in the front row, his suit expensive but his face haggard. 3 months of watching strangers run his father's company had aged him. I stood backstage, my heart thundering. 25 years of preparation for this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, David's voice boomed through the speakers. Please welcome the CEO and founder of Phoenix Holdings, Dr. Eileen Morrison. I'd taken Dorothy's maiden name when she and Samuel unofficially adopted me. Earned my doctorate in business economics. Built an empire. I walked onto that stage and I watched Ezekiel's face drain of color. Hello, Ezekiel. My voice echoed in the sudden silence. It's been a long time. He stood stumbling. Eileen? But, you're? The anonymous buyer? Yes. I smiled, cold and precise. Surprised. The room erupted in whispers. I held up my hand. 25 years ago, Ezekiel Gordon beat me unconscious and threw me onto the street like trash. I was 16 years old. His stepdaughter. I'd lived in his home for 8 years. I let that sink in. He did this because his biological daughter lied about me stealing a bracelet. When the police found that bracelet in her room hidden away, he faced no real consequences. His wife divorced him years later, but by then the damage was done. Ezekiel's lawyer jumped up. Ms. Morrison, this is highly inappropriate. Sit down, I said quietly. Or security will escort you out. He sat. I bought this company for one reason. I looked directly at Ezekiel, finally saying what I'd waited 25 years to say. To fire you. His legs gave out. He collapsed back into his chair. You're terminated, Ezekiel. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. The office was empty now except for us. Ezekiel sat slumped in what had been his chair, security waiting outside. He'd aged a lifetime in 30 minutes. You destroyed me for something I did when you were a kid? No. I stayed standing, keeping the power dynamic clear. I succeeded despite what you did. The destroying part? That was just you being a terrible businessman and a worse human being. I simply expedited the inevitable. I apologized. You never apologized. My voice could have cut glass. Not once. Not really. You made excuses. Blamed me. Said I provoked you. Even in the police station, you tried to manipulate everyone into seeing you as the victim. He looked up and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes instead of anger. What do you want? Groveling? Fine. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was a terrible stepfather. Please, Eileen. I have nothing left. No wife. No daughter. No company. Don't take this from me too. You took everything from me first. The words came out quieter than I intended. My home. My safety. My mother. My childhood. You beat me and threw me away because your daughter told a lie. You never even tried to find out the truth. I know. His voice broke. God, I know. I've had years to think about it. To regret it. When your mother left, she told me she'd never forgive me for what I did to you. That watching you leave was the worst moment of her life and she'd chosen wrong. She died hating me. The shock must have shown on my face. You didn't know? Ezekiel laughed bitterly. 3 years ago. She tried to find you at the end. Wanted to apologize. But you changed your name. Disappeared. I sat down heavily. Mom was dead. I'd never get closure. Never get my apology. Never get to show her who I'd become despite everything. Madison. I managed. Hasn't spoken to me in 5 years. She figured out what kind of man I really was. He wiped his eyes roughly. I'm alone, Eileen. Completely alone. And I deserve it. Every bit of it. But if you want me to hurt more, you're too late. I already destroyed myself. I looked at this broken man and tried to feel satisfaction. Victory. Justice. Instead I felt hollow. Empty. The revenge I'd carefully orchestrated for 25 years tasted like ash. You know what the worst part is? I stood preparing to leave. I became successful. Powerful. Rich beyond measure. I have everything you ever wanted and I earned every bit of it myself. And it still doesn't fix what you broke in me that night. I walked to the door then paused. I'm donating your severance to a women's shelter. The rest of this company will be restructured with proper oversight, fair wages, and actual consequences for abusive behavior. Your legacy will be erased. Every plaque. Every award. Every mention of your name. As if you never existed. Eileen. His voice cracked. I'm sorry. I'm so truly sorry. I know, I said softly. But sorry doesn't give me back my mother. Or my childhood. Or the years I spent hating myself because I believed what you said about me. Sorry is just a word. And it's 25 years too late. I left him there in an empty office with nothing but his regrets. Outside David waited. How do you feel? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Tired, I finally said. Just tired. The victory wasn't sweet. Justice wasn't healing. I'd won but nobody got what they really needed. That night I visited Dorothy and Samuel's graves. They'd passed within months of each other, hands held to the end. I did it, I whispered to the headstones. I stood up to him. Made him face what he did. But you know what? You two gave me something he never could, real love. Real family. And that's worth more than all the revenge in the world. I'd spent 25 years building an empire to destroy one man. And in doing so, I'd almost become as cold and calculating as he'd been. The real victory? Walking away and choosing to be better than what he made me. To build shelters for broken girls. To create companies that treated people with dignity. To prove that trauma doesn't have to define you. Ezekiel Gordon lost everything. But I didn't win. Because you can't win a game that never should have been played. Some wounds don't heal. They just teach you to carry the weight differently. Real strength isn't destroying your enemies. It's refusing to let them destroy you. Subscribe and share if this story moved you. Remember, the best revenge is building a life they could never break.